Hi, it's me, Ms. Martinez again, and today we're going to do a little demonstration. For many of my students, this will be a review about how we can use one-point perspective to make some simple shapes. So we'll get started by just first reviewing our materials. So we're going to start with a pencil. We're going to be using a vinyl eraser. We're going to use our straight edge, right? So today I'm using a metallic straight edge. This is a T-square, and you can see where it gets its name because of this shape up top that's like a letter T. And then finally I have what's called a triangle. I hope that's for obvious reasons, right? And the first thing I want to do is I want to draw my horizon line. And to do this, I'm going to be using my T-square. I'm going to lay my T-square on my paper, and I'm going to gently bump it up against the edge of the paper. And you'll be amazed how this even works with very thin papers as well. The trick here is to be gentle, to allow the weight of the objects to do the work for you, and to bump it up to make sure that the paper is flush against this edge all the way. Now, I'm going to make for this first demonstration, we're going to make our horizon line relatively in the middle-ish area. So I've got that in place. Also very important, hold down your straight edge at any point to make sure it doesn't slide. And then very lightly, I'm going to put my pencil, and notice I'm holding it from the back end, and I'm lightly drawing across the straight edge to get my line. When you guys are doing this in class, you want to use a harder edge, okay? Okay, the horizon line, right, represents where you see. So it's your eye level, okay? And so if a person is higher up, the horizon line would be higher up. If the person is lower, right, if they're laying down at the ground or they're short, right, the horizon line would be lower, right? But this sets the idea that this is at eye level. Okay, we're going to do one-point perspective. So for this, we need 1 point. Our vanishing point is going to be right in the middle, and I made it extra big and chunky so that everybody can see this on the video. This is the vanishing point. What this represents is all lines that are moving in the direction towards, going away from the viewer towards the vanishing point, going backwards, they're all going to lead to that point. These are lines which we could say are perpendicular to the viewer. So I'm going to start by just drawing a sort of rectangular shape, and I'm going to put it in a couple of different places. So I'm going to start by drawing it below, sort of directly below my mark. Okay. Okay, so there is my square. So this is, let's say, an object facing towards me. That means the sides of the object, right, they're moving away from me. So they're going to head towards the vanishing point. We can't see the sides when the object is directly in front of us, right? And you could experiment with this with the actual objects to see how this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to draw the top edges. Because I am above the object, I can see it from the top. So I can see the top, and I can see these top edges going towards a vanishing point. The back edge, so this is the front side, the back side would be over there. We can't actually see the back side, but we can see the back top edge of the back side. That edge is parallel to the front edge, which is where we are. So I'm going to take my I use my T-square so you can see it transparently. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my T-square up till I think like, oh, that's a reasonable distance. Okay. And I'm going to join these two side edges. Okay. And now this represents the top of my box. So this is the front of my box, and this is the top of my box. That means that these guidelines can now be erased. So I'll take my vinyl eraser. Yeah. Okay. And so now we have the instance of the box directly in front of us. Now watch what happens when that box is actually off to the side. Okay, so now you can see the difference by the position changing. Remember, our eye level hasn't changed. Our horizon line is still there because we're still looking at it from the same vantage point. And our vanishing point, we're keeping it the same position. Now, obviously, depending on where the vanishing point is, that's going to change the way these things look. So if I had the vanishing point over here, right, and back at this, where this box is at, this picture would actually look a lot more similar to that. And this picture will look more like this, but then in reverse, because then the sides are going off in that way. All right, so for my next demonstration, right, this shows what happens when we are above the objects, right? We see the top of the object. So now I'm going to put over here what happens when we are below the object, right? We can no longer see the top of the object when we're below it. So we're going to have a different perspective, okay? So I'm going to do a little time lapse and make a drawing of that as well. Okay, so we have our what's happening when our object is directly aligned in front of our vanishing point. What happens when our object is off to the side and we're looking at it from the top, and off to the side from the when we're looking from underneath it, right? We can see the bottom. And the same thing, think about this one, right? This would be flipped the other way, where we wouldn't be seeing the top, we would see the bottom. So I'm going to do one last one for your demonstration of this, and that's going to show what happens when our object actually crosses the horizon line, right? Because now we're in a situation where we're kind of at eye level with it, and we can see neither the top nor the bottom, right? Okay, so we've got these different perspectives, and I want you guys to be experimenting yourself. So your first assignment for this review of perspective, 1-point perspective review, is to draw several boxes in different positions. Now, as obviously not everything you draw is a box, but a box does give you some guideline for stuff.